Hey, I've had some sweet, sweet messages and phone calls checking in and seeing how we're doing. And I just thought I would make this, it's a little easier than writing everything out, and just let you guys know what's been going on the last couple weeks and how you can continue to pray for us moving forward. Um, Actually, it's been 2 weeks exactly today, and I thought that by now it's 12:30. I thought by now surely I would have had this baby girl because I labored all day Thursday, through the night, Thursday night, and then into Friday. And when the 11 o'clock hour hit, I remember looking at the clock thinking I had both the boys in the 11 o'clock hour, and I thought for sure she was coming, but she stalled out on me at 5 centimeters, and I stayed there for hours. And then I jumped to 7 centimeters, and then the jump from 7 to 10 was pretty quick. Um, and if you hear any baby grunts, she's over there sleeping. Um, but my delivery itself was kind of a challenge. I had a hard time getting her out. She was sunny side up, and she was doing everything she was supposed to do. She was turning, and throughout the course of her turning, she got the little cord wrapped around her neck, which made me push even harder. And every time I'd push, she'd want to go back in. And I'd push, and she'd go back in. And Dennis was such a great encouragement and support, and my nurses there, and the doctor. And anyway, I finally got her out at 3:16 p.m. on June 14th. And got some great skin time with her, and with just Dennis and I, and it was really sweet. I was absolutely exhausted though. And anyway, then the boys came in, and part of all of this is just seeing God's hand in little ways and in really big ways. And in one of those ways, Dylan was leaving on a trip the next day, so the 15th. And I was due to have her on the 21st. So originally we thought he would be gone. And he expressed his desire to be there when she was born, and so God answered that prayer, and she came a week early, and he got to be there for that. So we'll just write that down as a little God wink, and I was so thankful for that. So the boys came in, and we had some time with just us, and then the family came in, and I passed out on Dennis on the bed. I was so tired, and but she was right out of the gate, right out of the womb. She was just such a sweet, easy, calm baby, and that was another and is another blessing in all this, that she's her demeanor is just really, really sweet and easy. So anyway, well, that night I started experiencing excruciating pain, and just like holding the bed rails pain, and I knew exactly where it was, and I expressed that, and so the doctors came in, and they tried to help me with it and kind of figure out what was going on, and no pain medicine was touching it. As a matter of fact, some of the pain medicine made me feel even worse, and I felt lightheaded and just dizzy and sick, and this went on for what felt like hours. It's all a blur now. I don't remember conversations that were happening or anything. I just remember hurting really bad. And my mother-in-law had the baby, and my mom and Dennis were trying to comfort me and talk to the doctors and translate what I was feeling. And my sweet husband knew that all that chaos around me was not making me feel better. And so, he would lean over every now and then and just whisper some encouragement to me, and he put some sweet music on to help me kind of feel calm. And sorry, it's been a doozy. So anyway, they got my pain under control, but we still didn't understand why I was hurting so bad. And the only thing that we could really come up with, the doctor thought that I pulled a hamstring while I was delivering her, and it kind of made sense. It felt like a pulled muscle. It hurt like crap, but now that my pain was under control and I could fall asleep, it was manageable. So throughout that weekend, I just recovered at the hospital. I had incredible nurses, and things were okay. I didn't feel great by any means, but no new mama does. So we went home on that Sunday, of course, and you have your discharge day where at like 7:30 in the morning you're dressed and the room is packed and you are ready to go, but you're not going anywhere until the afternoon. So we hung out at the hospital for a while, but once we got to go home, Dennis and I just sat in that car for a minute and thought like, wow, she's ours and we get to take her home, and just, it was precious. And so our first couple days at home were sort of normal. I was compensating for my hamstring injury by sleeping and sitting as comfortably as I could, but it was really hard. I had a hard time finding a position to nurse and a position to sleep and sit and stand. It all just hurt. and so he did his best to make me comfortable at home, but it was a hard couple of days. She was like clockwork, up every 3 hours and nursing well. But on Wednesday, after we got home, I just got done feeding her, and I went to go put her down in her bassinet, and I experienced intense back pain, and I couldn't stand up straight. I mean, it was like my body just seized up. I'll try to keep this short. I'm already 6 minutes in. Okay, so intense back pain to the point where I could not move, and I got her into her bassinet. I called Braden. Dennis had already gone back to work, so I called Braden in here. He came and got her for me, and I called Dennis on speakerphone and said, "You got to come home. I can't move." And by the time he got here, he saw that I was in so much pain, I definitely needed to go to the emergency room. And by the time I got there, I was shaking uncontrollably. My whole body, everything was shaking. They couldn't even take my blood pressure because I couldn't stop shaking. Every inch of me, from my head to my toes, my jaws. And so they got me into a room and did an MRI to see if I had hurt my back in any way, maybe had something wrong with my discs or my nerves or my spine. The MRI was on my lumbar spine, and that'll make sense in a minute, because if it had been just a little lower, they would have seen part of what was causing all this. But they determined that my back was fine, and the ER doctor was wonderful. My nurse in the ER that day was amazing and encouraging, but they were both scratching their heads like, if her back's okay. I did have a UTI. They found out that day, and it was a pretty severe one, but it didn't explain this kind of pain. Anyway, got my pain under control, got an IV drip of some antibiotics to jumpstart my infection, and they took some blood cultures and said they'd be back in a couple days, but to go on home and rest and start my oral antibiotics. So that's what I did. I went home Wednesday and I did just that. I woke up Thursday morning and actually have felt the best I had in that whole week, to the point where Dennis went to work, and I texted him and I said, I feel like today is a turnaround day. I feel like, I feel better. And so I got dressed and washed my hair, and Mary came over and Melody, and they were going to help around the house with me and just spend the day with us. And so they got here, and I felt good with them here. And then I got a phone call from the emergency room, and it said, "You need to come back. Your blood cultures have already started to grow bacteria." And at that time, I didn't know what that meant. I just thought, well, dang, this is inconvenient. I don't feel good. I mean, I feel good. Again, I didn't understand what that meant. So I kind of took my time a little bit. They said, pack a bag, be prepared to be admitted, but we definitely want to see you as soon as you can get up here. So I packed a little bag and packed my my pump, and I left this sweet little baby Grace with them here. Mary took me up to the ER and dropped me off, and I got all checked in and was still confused kind of why I was there. And they ended up doing a CT scan to figure out if maybe I had kidney stones, just what was causing this rapid infection. And anyway, I did not have kidney stones, but what they did discover was an 11.5 centimeter hematoma. And that is what the source of my pain was that Friday night. It was not a pulled hamstring. And so not only did I have this UTI, I had this hematoma, but I had sepsis in my blood, um, and it was pretty severe. My white count was rapidly rising, and so they got me on some medicine just as soon as possible. The ER doctor that day was a different one, but he was incredible. I had the same ER nurse again, which was a blessing. She was an encouragement to me that day. My mom came up there, and she was a mama, rubbing my head and making me feel better. And anyway, so spent several hours, I think like 7 hours in the ER, and then they admitted me. And another one of the blessings in this is they admitted me back up to the birthing center, the birthing floor, which was like the nicest place to be in the hospital, and it would have been the only place I really felt comfortable with somebody bringing the baby up. And so, but that first day, night, and the next day I didn't get to see her, which was really, really hard. And anyway, so long story short, they put me on a couple of really strong antibiotics. I was on medicine for pain, and I ended up getting really bad migraine while I was there. Met with doctors I didn't even know existed, like infectious disease, and they were really trying to identify the right antibiotic to attack this infection. Had a visit from the cardiologist who wanted to make sure that none of this bacteria made its way into my heart valves. So there was just lots of tests, lots of scans, lots of blood pricks. Every couple hours they were taking my blood, and it was tough. But I have a brand new appreciation for that whole medical field and just how hard that they work. And the nurses, I felt like I got so close to them, and then they're shifting it, and I lost a friend. And then I get to know the other one, and then they're shifting it, and I lost a friend. But they were all so great. And so, anyway, got to see my sweet girl. She came up the second day. Maybe I was there. It's all a blur now, but that was really special. My best friends came up. Of course, my husband was there, and when I couldn't be home, of course, at night, he'd send me videos whenever she would wake up, and it was so sweet. So everybody just took really good care of me, and it was a difficult place to be, because I would much rather prefer to be the one to take care of somebody else than to lay there and just have people take care of me. But it was really, really sweet to see everybody just be so kind and thoughtful. Sorry, there's cars and a cardinal and a baby, and I'm a little distracted. But anyway, so all that to say, there were some milestones that I needed to reach in the hospital, and I reached them. My heart was totally untouched by this infection, and so my valves looked good. That was a check. My body was responding to the antibiotic. That was a check. I met with a lactation consultant who gave me a lot of encouragement on my ability to continue nursing when I got home. So that was a check. And let's see what else. So I was feeling better, well enough to continue my treatment at home. And so that's kind of where we are now. And so we're home, and I've got this lovely little guy right here that I get to wear around for a while. And so I'm continuing my treatment with home health and taking my antibiotics and being a good girl, following all the directions I've been given, because I want to get better. And I do feel a little bit better every day. So just some ways that you guys can pray. And I also want to say thank you for meals and text messages and prayers, and just all your loving and all the ways that you have shown that you care for us. And I just appreciate you so much. And I will get those thank you cards done. I will. But right now, just a general thank you. But okay, so where we are now, I need this infection completely gone from my body. I need these antibiotics to do their job, and my body do its job. I also would ask that you guys pray that this hematoma that I have would, my body would just reabsorb it like it's supposed to, and it could take a while. It's pretty big. it's not painful, but it's uncomfortable. So, yeah, so those are two things that we still need prayer for. Just that the infection clears completely when my medicine is done, and that this hematoma would absorb. So, and our sweet girl, she is like clockwork, up every 3 hours to eat, and then back down, and up again, and then back down, and then up again, and then she'll stay up and look around, and oh, she's just delicious. So I can't wait to share more as she grows. And yeah, so thank you again. That's kind of what's been going on. It's been crazy, especially because I'm never sick, so I guess I decided to show up big on this one. But I appreciate y'all. We love you. And welcome the company. Sometimes I get real tired in the afternoon after my medicine, so I just pass out. But feel free to call or text or reach out or message or whatever. And yes, I know that I speak for Dennis and myself and my mom and my dad and Dylan and Braden. And by the way, Dylan's in Northern California and has no idea any of this is going on. So he'll be back in a few days. But I know I speak for my whole family when I say thank you so much. And we love you and appreciate you. And I'm on the mend. So praise God. But talk to you soon. All right. Bye.